Hello there, my name's Ray. I'm with Team S.T.E.A.M. and this morning I'm out in front of Flash Industrial Painting getting ready to collect the next truck we're going to work on. And no, you're not having deja vu. This is the next one that we'll be painting for them, but this won't be for a bit yet. What we're actually working on today is this 90s model Peterbilt 379 sleeper truck that needs quite a bit of attention in quite a few areas, and it's going to have quite a few custom touches. So this morning's where it starts. And this morning we're starting that process by prepping this chassis for sandblasting. All right, so I got this chassis blasted, got the truck in the shop now. Ash and Kit are going to be in here any minute, and the first thing we're going to do is wipe this thing down with thinner. We're going to take everything off of it, and we're going to get everything masked up and form a game plan. Getting some of the stuff taken off. And we're reaching the point where we're wiping the whole thing down with thinner, getting the stickers off of it. And we have a few more parts yet to take off. Okay, at this point we're getting some masking done. We're going to be removing the cab lights altogether and replacing them with a different type of cab light and a different amount. The horns I think we're shaving off. I have to get with the owner. I have a few questions for him. It's been a while since we talked about it, but the horns I think we're shaving off. The exhaust is yet to be pulled off. We're not going to mask it. We're going to pull it off there. We did leave the mirrors, and I've explained in other videos why. These rivets, these 6 rivets that hold these mirrors on, are a nightmare. They have the hardness of a diamond, so you have to try and use a grinder to get them off there without marking up this chrome, without slipping off there in any one spot and nicking up the chrome. Then once you get it off, all these wires are tightly spun into the interior of the door, down to here, across, and clear up underneath the dash through that rubber boot and well into the dash. You end up spending half of a day just taking the mirrors off and another half putting them on. So these, I just all but refuse to mess with these original Peterbilt mirrors. They're too much of a time suck, and they're just too tedious to deal with in that means. I don't want to spend an extra full day on each truck just because of the stupid mirrors. So they, just like most of these 379 models, these mirrors are staying on. A lot of this other stuff's getting masked off. A lot of times we'll pull these, but if the bolts resist enough, we'll stop because it'll just spin the nuts or break the bolts, and then that's a big pain. And it doesn't matter really one way or another. These again aren't show trucks, they're just work trucks. And so as you can see, I had Ash and Kit masking up all these, some of this lower chrome stuff like we oftentimes do. And then when I was speaking to the owner this morning after going through the parts pile, I realized that he actually would rather have these painted. So now we're going to take these off altogether and install these after they are painted. We're replacing the exhaust on this one with brand new exhaust, brand new lower elbows, the whole thing, even these brackets that hold it to the cab, all of it brand new. We're putting a brand new air cleaner on it. We're going to be replacing the large back fenders. We're removing these completely exhausted old horns. Both of them are all rusted out. Neither one of them have worked for a long time. The owner's got replacement horns that he's been using for quite some time that are mounted to the chassis, so those are going to get shaved entirely. And all 5 of these rectangular shaped cab lights are going to get replaced with 7 of these bullet lights. You know, I always talk about having cracks, millions of cracks in some of these roof caps. Well, when you just ignore them and think that you can sand them, when you sand them and blow them off, they don't look like they could be really that much of a deal anymore. So you think you can just go ahead and paint over them. And then you notice your paint's not going down into those little cracks. So then you spray it on even heavier and it builds up around it even more, and it still doesn't go into the crack. That's, you know what, they want to know what that looks like later? When you do that, all those cracks are still there, only they're far more pronounced in this heavy, heavy orange peel because somebody shot it super thick. Same as right here. And as you can see here on the driver's side, the exhaust has been into the sleeper. I think he hit a deer or something like that. So we'll be removing all this and we'll be repairing that along the way as well. We're going to be removing the remnants of these 2 braces entirely, getting these spotlights out of here. There's what I would consider a fairly normal amount of damage for a truck this old. Some decent sized dents. Got these old LEDs, we're going to get rid of that. Get rid of all that. fix all the dents that are in it, and there's a couple good sized ones and then a bunch of small ones like we would expect. As you can see, somebody at some point in time cut this wing off. Instead of just removing the wing like we oftentimes will do and exposing the back of the truck, the back of this truck isn't that good looking. It slopes in at the top. It's going to have a weird profile from the side. So the person that he hired to do this job just cut it straight off, and it gives the truck a more normal look. It's a good straight cut. I mean, they did a good job. I gotta hand it to them, because if had they just removed those wings, then this truck would look kind of wonky from the side. So they made some pretty darn good decisions, and not too bad a craftsmanship as well. Well, there's old shop foreman Kevin coming out to make sure everything's up to snuff. And here we're getting some of this sanding done. This side, as you can see, I've marked off and fixed all the little dings. Did all the body work along the bottom. This side, I'm just getting this hood whittled down a little bit. This is all going to take wet sanding primer as well. And this side, we've got it completely, as you can see, completely sanded. All right, well, here's the back of the sleeper with 2/3 of the body work done. Now I'm up here and I'm looking at this roof cap, and I noticed that, you know, we had 5 lights up here, and he wanted to do away with those 5 lights and replace them with 7. Well, when I got to looking, I noticed that these are 9 inches apart, and so are these. This one and this one are 18 inches apart. So I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. All I need to do is put a light in between this location and that location, and do the same over here between that location and that location, which I've already done. I've drilled the initial 1/4 inch hole and place another light right in between those two. The measurements are perfect for it. So this is going to be a fairly easy maneuver to make. Much easier than I thought it was going to be. All right, as you can see, I drilled the 2 new holes and installed new nutserts. I put that light on there and put both bolts in and made sure they both comfortably worked. And then I've done the same thing here. I put both bolts in and make sure that they comfortably work on there. It's not bound up or anything like that. These nutserts have been installed, that's ready to go. And so now all that's left is for me to measure and drill the hole for the electrical lines to go down through. And then I can get all this stuff cleared off of here and start getting ready to remove these horn mounts so I can get my fiberglass work done. Okay, now I've got all these holes prepped. I didn't have to prep nearly as many as I thought because the lights worked out so well, but we've got 7 holes all prepped. So this is dished way in. This is where that other antenna, it's one of those screw-on posts like this. This had a previous one that is no longer in use, so we went ahead and opted to take it out. We prepped those additional holes there. Okay, I've got the body work up here all done. Got those inlaid with fiberglass last night, and then this morning I reabraded them and then applied the body work. And there we are, getting some sanding and scratching done. Closing in on it. And here we're getting those lower panels prepped. This one here already is prepped. You can tell by its lack of shininess. Now, we went ahead and test fit those new chrome lower pieces to the truck to make darn sure we had the right ones before we ever started sanding on them. Before we ever even took that protective layer off of them. We went ahead and held them up here and made sure. What we did find was that these brackets right here that hold that lower fender aren't going to work. The chrome rides in too close to the cab for that. So I went ahead and took both of these out. And then another thing that we found is the chrome that goes on both sides of the air cleaners here that is going to hold a whole array of LED cab lights. Brand new chrome, never been on here before. Goes behind these bolts. Now, I mentioned before that a lot of times we don't take these off of Peterbilts because, especially on these older trucks, what happens is when you get the kind of corrosion that these trucks get, at least one of these bolts breaks off or spins the nutsert, and then there you are. And when we realized that the new chrome slips underneath these bolts, so they all four on both sides need to be loosened at least 1/8 of an inch anyway to be able to slip that new chrome underneath there. I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and get to it. And sure enough, both sides had bolts that needed cut. You see I put a bunch of duct tape right here to help protect this chrome underneath here, and it did. But that one, not an easy get. These are both inset really far, so they're very difficult to get chewed out of there. This one didn't spin though. It didn't spin the nutsert. It's ready to come out. This one did. This one did, so it needed cut. So 2 out of the 4 on this side, and 1 of them on this side. So now what I got to do is grind this all the way down with like a burr off of a die grinder. Grind that all the way down to where I can get to this rim. Then I need to grind the inside of that rim out so this nutsert falls down inside the cab. Then I need to install a new nutsert. So that's quite a process just to get a piece of chrome off of there that doesn't need to come off of there. And that's why we leave them on most of these Peterbilts. And now that this guy is 100% ready for primer, I'm gonna go ahead and get some wet sanding primer on it. Well, here it is first thing the next morning. I got everything sprayed yesterday that I needed to. This morning, one of the first things I'm going to do is look it all over in the light and see if I can find any scratches or gouges or anything that's obvious, and get those taken care of before I sand. Then when I go to sand, I'm just going to sand the lower half of the truck. There's really no need to sand the upper half, because then I'll have to do it twice. I'll sand it today, and then there will be a bunch of overspray in the air from shooting the bottom. And then that means it's going to get covered in overspray. I'll have to sand it again. So we'll sand the bottom half of the truck. We'll get all this chrome off of here, get all this stuff cleaned off this chassis and placed in different rooms and where it goes, and get the chassis all ready. And I'm going to end up, by the end of the day, priming and painting the lower half of the truck and the chassis. All right, well, I've got everything sanded that needs to be sanded for this particular phase. Got the chassis all blown off, everything's all ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get some primer on the chassis and on the lower half of the truck. All right, now enough time's gone by. I've got my tack rag out and got everything all tacked off, got everything all fixed up and finished up, and now we're ready to put some paint on it. All right, so the first color's on it. It sat all night. Now today, what I'm gonna do first thing is start figuring out, measuring out, and laying out the stripe work. There's gonna be one small stripe and then one very big stripe. A stripe of at least a foot wide, and then a stripe of 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide above it. All right, and here I've got the hood as masked up as it's gonna be on this side, the passenger side here. You can see I've got my top 3 lines. This is gonna be solid masked in. This is going to be left to be painted blue, and this is going to be solid masked in from there to there. So it's going to be 2 stripes, one of which is, I don't know, 18 or more inches wide, and then the other one is 1 inch wide and 1 inch up from the first stripe. All right, we've got all the vinyl laid out, and as you can see, we're getting the masking finished up, getting all the paper masking done. Vinyl's laid out on both sides. We just got to finish this part up. All right, well, got everything all masked up. Everything's all nice and airtight, ready to go. I went ahead and turned the crew loose because the rest of these details are on me. This is all this finished work is on me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything up top here sanded down, get everything all ready, get everything blown off and looked over real careful, and then I'll get it primed and get it in blue. Summertime truck sanding. At least I got a breeze through here because right now the shop is just under 100 degrees, probably 99 degrees. So here I've got these lower chrome pieces stacked on these two ladders. And that's just how I intend to paint them. It's just like that. And then I've got the visor, got the couple dents fixed in the visor. And I've got them set out on sawhorses. I got to shoot both sides of it. Went ahead and did my metal work. I got these angles cut. Remember, this was straight down. Got these angles cut. Got the little bit cut off the other end to make sure that this all fits good. And now I've got all the sanding done. 100% ready to go. It's all blown off. Now all I need to do is tack these pieces off and get them in some primer. Well, we got everything primed. Now it's time to get some paint on. Alright, so here it is first thing the next morning. I heard my camera beeping yesterday when I was 3/4 of the way through this shoot, so I knew that the battery shut off or it overheated or something. It was clear up on top of the ladder. I didn't feel like messing with it. I was right in the middle of a shoot, but I know you didn't catch 100% of that. But either way, here it is the next morning, and I've looked it over. It looks good. I can't see any glaring weaknesses in it. The first thing I'm going to do, like all two-tones, is I'm going to unmask this stripe first, so we see how well the paint underneath my paint holds up to such a thing. well, it all unmasked fine. We're gonna go ahead now and get the rest of it unmasked and get this guy put all back together here today. Well, we're part of the way through the job here, and a lot of times this aftermarket chrome doesn't fit these trucks. A lot of times. I mean, I've even had PACCAR chrome not fit on PACCAR trucks, so it can be ridiculous. And these air cleaner lights don't fit. I mean, you can see they fit. We've got them all bolted up, or had them both bolted up, but this rim on top of this bangs right into them on both sides when there's still almost an inch to go here. The bottom's touching. Right up here, there's still an inch to go in. This doesn't have enough of a hold on it to even hold it, and these are stopping it by hitting this rim. So these particular ones aren't gonna work for this truck. So we're gonna go ahead and remove them and put the air cleaner on without them. Well, all right, there's another one in the books. It's about time we take a minute and walk around this guy and have a little look. And what we have here is a 2002 Peterbilt 379 sleeper truck. And when it showed up, it had clear coat peeling off of the hood. It had some peeling off of the roofs as well. It had a trillion cracks in both of the roof caps. We took out the 5 lights that were on it and replaced them with 7 of a completely different style. Had to redo some holes and some wiring and stuff, but we got that all done. Got all 7 lights in. 2 of them were not here before. There was 5 lights on it before. Now there's 7. They're a bullet style light instead of a rectangular style light that was there. Got the visor all painted and installed. We replaced all the lower chrome with different lower chrome and painted it. Painted the visor inside and out. Installed brand new exhaust. Installed a brand new air cleaner on the driver's side, I believe, and then peeled that red. It had red vinyl wrap on it, and that's what that is too. That's black vinyl wrap. And the owner hasn't decided if he's gonna keep it or go with a different color or just strip it off there and stick with aluminum tanks. He's unsure, so we just left it. But that's what was on there too, was red wrap. And we removed that, replaced the air cleaner on the driver's side. Trimmed up all the bad workmanship on the chrome that did show up. We went ahead and masked up. That's not paint. I'm not sure what that is. That's just very, very stuck to that and was there when it showed up. I'm not really sure what it is. That white thing that's on that airbag. But anyway, these airbags, we masked them all up, even the ones that are hard to see and wouldn't make any difference if you did mask them up. We went ahead and masked them all up. Sandblasted and painted this chassis. Took care of the million dents that were in the back. See, this side doesn't have vinyl wrap, so I would imagine either he's going to install vinyl wrap here or just take it off the other side. Put on brand new back fenders. We were going to put on these fenders, but the owner decided he's going to do it. He's got some other things he wants to do here as well. Took the horns completely out. They're gone entirely. Took an antenna spot out next to the antenna. It's gone entirely. Here's that brand new air cleaner. Took care of everything that needed it. So there's nothing left for this truck to do except for go and eat asphalt and turn heads doing it. Hey, if you like this video, you should take the time to hit the like button. That's going to help me grow my channel. And if you want to see more of what goes on around here, you should check me out at Facebook at Flash Industrial Painting. And if you want to see more videos like this, or domestic auto body, or gardening, or art, or any of the many things we do around here, you might as well just take the time to hit the subscribe button while you're at it, because, you know, we always got something going on. We'll see you guys around.